So on the final learning objective of Unit 4 now, we've covered 5.1. 5.2 is looking at how self-assessment and self-evaluation is covered in your quality cycle, or if it is covered in this quality cycle, and if not, why not? So it's not like, excuse me, it's not like a definitive thing. Different organisations will have different methods of whether they use self-assessment. Some don't use it at all, yeah? But some do. Part of that is in if your IQA will run a standardisation meeting, then some of that is self-assessment, because the way that's normally done is that I will give a number of assessors who assess a specific qualification a piece of work that a learner has produced and let them all evaluate it and make an assessment of it and make an assessment decision. Once that decision's been made, we then have a discussion and they justify the decision. I mean, some could have passed it, some could have not passed it. But it's good then, because you have an interaction of views on why it's not been passed or why somebody else has passed it. And it makes you have a second look at what you've said. It makes you think, well, was I being fair there? Was I being a bit harsh? Or did I let that go when I shouldn't have let it go? Yeah. It works well that way. And it makes you think about your own self-assessment and self-evaluation of that quality cycle. Am I adhering to and meeting all those assessment criteria, or am I not? Is there things I'm missing? Am I being too overbearing or too tight? Am I not making any allowances whatsoever, even if the understanding's obviously there? You know, it makes you think about that, and that's basically the area for 5.2. And then as we get to 5.3, evaluate a learning programme, talking about the quality in your own organisation, and identify any areas for improvement in a learning programme, taking into account the outcomes of the evaluation. So yeah, you've said you've looked at the model that you use and how that model could be improved to make it more, or streamline it and speed things up, to be honest, because if, excuse me, if as a learner, and I think back to when I was, whenever I'm learning on any programme, if somebody gives us some direction earlier on and I've misunderstood something or I've taken something a certain way and it's possibly wrong, and that correction can make all the difference between the rest of the work that I produce. So it's a good idea to do that early on, to do that formative assessment, so that it makes sure we're all on the same sheet, if you know what I mean. It may be when we've done that first bit, everything's fine. Yeah. In which case, yeah, carry on like that. That's brilliant. Yeah. Blah blah blah. And then it's only tiny bits that may be not fulfilling exactly the AC. Sometimes I will say, well, that doesn't really matter, because what you've actually written is fulfilling to me, that you understand what that's asking you to do. Yeah. So yeah, that's the bit. The slight difference.
So with some of those learners that I've been working with, when I've, for example, like recently, I've said, yeah, he's hit the criteria with that, which is, it's my specialist knowledge, but then the IQA, their knowledge is more broad and not specialised in that area.
Yeah.
So then it wasn't clear for them that they did actually understand it. So then part of that self-assessment can be that making sure that the work is presented clearly, so that everyone else can
either that, or you make clear why you've made that decision. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
You can say, well, this actually covers the AC, but in terms of what he said, it's this, and this from your specialist knowledge, and that explains to your IQA exactly why you passed it. Yeah. And he will then go, yeah, fine. Or he may ask you a question, just say, from a question on that. But basically, I've been, I've not pulled an assessor up, but I've actually mentioned, I said, well, where is that covered? I can't see where you've actually covered that. And the assessor turned to me, well, if you look at the previous LO I put on there, and that actually covers that as well. And I'm going, oh, right, I didn't notice that.
But so, that's what I mean, yeah, so making sure that the part of that presentation of a learner's work is...
Exactly. Your IQA is not infallible. He's there to ask questions, yeah? If he doesn't understand something, it's quite possible that somebody else wouldn't understand it either.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So that's the way it works, and that's how it works for quality. The IQA is not the oracle. He's there just merely to ask questions, yeah?
Yeah.
It's like...
it's almost playing devil's advocate, isn't it? Making sure that...
I work in a steering group for a college in London that's not doing very well. And one of the things that steering group's for is to ask questions about him. Yeah? Where is this? Have you done that? What's that?
Yeah.
How are you covering this? Where's the information for that? How's that recorded? All those sort of things that need to be there for inspection purposes and things like that. So the IQA's job is almost the same sort of thing. It's looking at what's been done, what's been achieved, how it's been achieved, and how it's explained that it's been achieved. Yeah, and sometimes if you look at the bottom of here, this is, if you remember, I turned this into my assessment sheet. Yeah.
Yes.
And at the bottom, it will say, actions needed to achieve the LOs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get rid of all this, and it will say on there, blah, 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 blah. And if there is a question like that, you could say at 1.4, the student has done this, this, and this, but that maintained in an earlier LO that this is covered, and that says that, that, and that. You can explain your decision on that point there, and then put, as far as you're concerned, that's achieved. That immediately directs your IQA to that.
Yes. So even if they've gone through it and gone, I didn't see that, read that, I'll go back to it.
Yeah, you've got it in your summative assessment on the bottom here, yeah. Although you've got a detailed assessment to each individual criteria, yeah, you can even put a note to it in there if you like. Yeah. You can. I quite often I'll put on there, blah blah blah, achieved C 4.3, yeah.
Yes.
And it immediately refers you back to there. And immediately you can go to 4.3, well, there's not one here, but 4.2, and go, that's fine, yeah. So, what's it saying about this? He's saying, self-assessment, using feedback from others to inform practice, So again, part of any observations you've had can be put, references to any of the observations you've had can be put in there as well. Responding to student feedback, identifying opportunities for change, implementing change, evaluating, identifying modifications for future delivery, evaluating a learning programme, learner surveys, focus groups, early review to check meeting expectations, which is what I've just said. That's exactly what I do. On programme to assure satisfaction, reactive in response to concerns, meeting targets, learner achievement records, value added rates, opportunities for action planning. That's the thing on this. I put in, if I've done on your work, I'll have done a review, on the formative assessment, I will usually put something on the bottom of here because some of this may be achieved, some not yet achieved, and I'll put a note to that on here, which I'll remove when I do the summative assessment, so that we will work between the learner and the tutor assessor. We will work between ourselves, and notes may go in here that will be removed at a later stage when it's all complete, But the initial formative assessment will stay the same as a review on the side of the work.
Yeah.
So that really, oops, let's have a quick look. Oh, it's gone the wrong way. It's got on. This, I can never move this thing. It's always, when you get near to the pictures on the bottom, it doesn't like you.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, areas for improvement, plan changes, delivery approaches, new delivery techniques, development of resources, use of new technology or online resources, more flexible approaches to improve access to programmes, opportunities for staff development and working with stakeholders. Those are all ideas, that's all. If you're not in that situation, obviously those don't apply. Yeah. What I will, let me get back to an old size. Yeah. What I will say on this is that once you've got to that point and you've identified, a way forward from what you're doing now, yeah, that's sufficient. Yeah, that's really all it's asking you to do. If you, for instance, one of the ways that I will formulate ideas is by putting this stuff down the side of here. Yeah. It's only doing what this has done. I've probably done it in more simple language, if you like. Yeah. And it refers in sometimes it'll say produce a diagram, show lines of responsibility on there, rather than some abstract, said a couple of words on here, which probably mean the same thing, but yeah. So, are you happy with?
I'd be able to write that quite easily then.
Yeah, it's fairly straightforward.
And then maybe reference part of that when I go back to the other bits instead, just do it the other way around. But yeah, that shouldn't be a problem because I've already written what the
outline.
The outline is already there. Yeah, so assuming that that's all right.
Yeah. Right. No. What was it on look at then? Where's it gone?
But yeah, so I've sent up to 5.1. Obviously, you've already seen the first bit, so
yeah. So I'll put this out of the way a minute. Let's see if I can't remember if I brought it in or not yet. Unit 4 assessment, yeah.
What's the date on that one?
Don't know. I'm just going to have a look.
No.
6. There's one since then. Oh, hang on.
The 10th, I think it will be.
Just close
I think I sent it on Sunday.
Right, well, let's do...
I meant to send it earlier in the week and I just kind of forgot.
Right, okay. With me. Let's move this over. Hang on. Okay, let's just move the whole thing if I can. Yes, I can. Right.
Huh.
Huh?
No, it's not there, is it?
No, it's all there. Oh, it's not gone. Got sent it to me other...
No.
No, he sent it to this one. Yeah, I thought I'd have picked it up if I'd seen it. Right.
No, I got the receipt.
Did you? I sent it to Learn to Work.
Yeah, sorry.
Right, well, hang on. It could be on here then. When did you send it, roughly?
Sunday.
So that was Friday, yeah? Nothing on the transcripts. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one.
Yeah, but to learn a work. I'll send it again, yeah?
Yeah, it's not on there, is it? No, there's nothing on there. Admin. No, it usually forwards straight to me from there, yeah? Let's get rid of that one there. Yeah, send it through again, I'll pick that up.
What email address is this that we're looking at? Oh,
I'm looking for Learn to Work at It'll come to me as admin.
I'll send it to this.
You send it to Learner Work, and it will come through. Are you going to do it now?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, send it to Phil at UK Versity. Yeah. .co.uk.
There you go.
That'll come straight through to me then. Oh, UK Visits. What's that after? That's right. Thanks. A bit of 10:15. Blah blah blah. Okay. Oh God, she's not stopping long. I am recording. Hang on.
Yeah.
No, it's our EQA coming in on. I'll be putting some of your work towards to have a look at.
Yeah.
Because I want to maintain direct claim status on this. So I'm coming in. I've got 2 completers on other qualifications that are in this same group, and yours and the other girls that have got some units complete. I'll put those there as well, so she can have a look at those. And if we do that, that'll maintain that, so that when you finish, you can just claim certification.
Yeah.
So, inbox.
Oh wait, I've got your email address wrong.
Have you?
Sorry.
It's Phil at ukversity.co.uk. All lowercase.
Yeah, it pre-filled it, and it's wrong. Right, try that one.
That's all. I'll have a quick look at that again. She just sent it to me.
Yeah.
Yes, she's just sent it to me. So I will forward that. Yeah, gotcha. Save to, Benji, home, save. Okay.
Yeah, you do want to replace it.
Yes. That's all right.
Yeah, because 1 and 2 is the same.
Oops, there we go here. Right, that's the one. Yes, the only 2 on there. Let's make this a bit bigger. So, what I will do, I'll leave that over slightly. Is it playing about? Not letting me do it. Right, do it that way then. We're over there now. Alright, so. Delete. Good throw. Gone. Right, so let's have a look what you got down there. So accurate placing in the prison non-smooth learners is set and outlined through evolving policies and guidelines from health to specializers. Yeah. Let's go through. Yeah. Oops.
I couldn't work out how to do that. Whether it was ED or
IQA apostrophe D. Now that.
Is it? Okay.
No, it's not done it. It's done it wrong now. It's not capitalised it.
Oh, A apostrophe D. Okay.
That's it. That's that. Accurate. Excuse me. Yeah, that's fine. That's no problem at all. That. Yeah. I'll complete the assessment on this with the other stuff as well. I got down to 3, haven't I, before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll carry on from 3 and I'll give you that back. Well, that's fine. That's no problem at all. And carrying on from what we've just said now, you're going to be able to follow on with 5 as well now, with the rest of 5.
Yeah, no problem. That'll be fine.
Yeah. What I'll do before we close this tonight, just put that back over there. And that one. And that one. We'll go back to here. Jumped on. We're going to have a quick look at Unit 8 before we go tonight. It'll give you some motivation, this.
Do you know what? I think I had a peek at it the other day and was like, oh, it's basically asking for like a scheme of work, isn't it? So I can just go, right, there you go, that's the last one that I did.
Yeah, you've already got one in Unit 1. You can refer to, just cross-reference it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I've got like a small unit that I did for someone really like the other week, so I was just thinking that one's like really fresh.
Yeah, well, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, just if you want to, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm not prescriptive on these things. It's easiest, but whatever's easiest for you to do.
Okay.
Well, the first thing you'll know is that there are only 2 learning objectives. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a change from what we've had. Very long-winded units. So again, underpinning resource selection. It's looking at development, preparing resources for learning and development. I just want to nip back to 4 a second. While I've got it in my mind now. You know, when we're talking about adjustments in your assessment, that can happen more in the academic work that's produced. Criteria-wise, if you've got a practical thing that you're observing, either something being produced or made, or even, you know, music or whatever it is, that's more specific. There's less room for adjustment in that area. They will either have achieved it or they won't, if you know what I mean. It's a more black and white area. Yeah. I just wanted to put that in, that there is a difference between practical assessment and the assessment of academic work. Yeah, there is some leeway in the academic assessment, provided the understanding's there. Other than with practical assessment, there's very little room for manoeuvre. It will say usually what's got to be done and to what level. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, back to 8. So it's looking at principles underpinning resource selection. The resources that you use will be fairly well, shall I say, fixed to a certain extent, yeah?
Yeah.
You will have other resources that you use, which you can explain as well. But looking at the factors that are important when developing and preparing the resources to make sure they conform to any national legislation and organisational policies. That is, if there is equipment to be used, there may be health and safety factors or risk assessments involved in that that you need to be aware of. And that also, the learner needs to understand that if they're under assessment, yeah. And evaluate the contribution of technology to the development of learning and development resources. Again, that falls really into your domain as well, because it's fairly straightforward in the type of technology that you use, which is quite extensive, to produce the work that you do.
Yeah. I think to do that, I would probably like make a comparison between like what is in the computer and then an actual hardware piece of equipment that is more limited.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that opens more doors and like makes more connections for people, because it is more real. You know, we're twisting things and messing around with things, and there's a direct change rather than clicking the mouse.
Exactly. It gives you that many more options. Yeah. Agreeing on needs of learners. This is ILPs. If you've got people that need to have special needs or have something that needs to be, the resource has to be changed for them or whatever, and prepare resources for the delivery, how you actually produce those, health and safety, welfare, equality and inclusion requirements, plan any adaptations and use in the use of technology within those resources that meet the learning and development needs of your learners. And prepare guidance to assist those using the learning and development resources. So, you've got the resources. Sometimes they're going to be, a lot of the time they're going to be shown how to use them, and evaluate the suitability of those resources for the learning and development. So that is, you may have a wish list of things you could do with, So look at the suitability of what you've got and say, that's okay, but, and then go on to include what you would like. Your chance of putting a wish list up here. That is literally Unit 8. So that's giving you a heads up on that before we go into it next week. That's all.
Well, I've definitely got things that I can put towards that, which are just a little bit fresher, and I just think they're a little bit.
Well, as I said, that drops right into your area now. That's all. But 8 will be fairly straightforward. Okay.
How many units are there altogether?
Right, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the mandatory units. These are the ones I've selected for you. 8 is this one, resources. Most teachers are going to have some sort of resources that they're going to develop for their particular area. The next one, 11, is working with partnerships.
Okay.
Partnership, working with anybody that you work, the college or centre works in partnership with, or anything like that, and how that functions. 13, I can't remember offhand. Come back to me in it, just a second. I'll shut that down now, just a sec. Shut that down. Yes. Go away. I'll shut that down as well, right? 13 is equality and diversity, which we're all involved in. And of course, you'll have covered quite a bit of that in Unit 1 and 2. 24, teaching in a specialist area.
Ideal.
And 39, which is the last one. It's managing behaviours in a learning environment.
Well, that's the last 2 years. That's where I've had like a complete change because of the learning difficulties and barriers and things like that.
Well, what I always put on there as well, it's not just behaviours, it's behaviours of everybody you deal with in the learning environment, not just the learners, but also the other staff members and management and so forth as well. It gives you an option to vent your spleen on here if you need to.
Oh, I've definitely got one that was. I can put on.
But that is a full qualification. It's I put it on there. What do we say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 11, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 units altogether. That it's got to achieve 120 credits, and with the ones I've chosen, it'll be 123.
Okay.
That's how it patterns out because they're not all worth the same. I think 1, 2, and 3 are 20 credits each. A number of others are 15, and some of the others, 8 being one, I can remember now, is only 6. And I'm not sure which one. I think it's 13 is only 6 as well. And then 24 is another 15 one, and 39 is a 15 one. So yeah, that's just about it. Have you got any further questions for me tonight before we part company?
No, I reckon that's fine.
You okay with that, Ben?
Yeah,
that's great, then.
Should be able to get through the rest of this like quite quickly now as well, I reckon.
Yeah, like I said to you at the beginning, those first 4 units are heavy units and it takes a while to get through them. They've got to be correct, and also there's a lot of information in those that you can transcribe into these following up units as well, which is why we basically chose those at the beginning. So I think we've had to change the units for a couple of people because they could. I think there's one unit 6, I think it is, where it's a research project.
Right.
And a couple of them had done a research project in another qualification, which exactly met the criteria. So they were able to use their certification for that to claim that unit, you see. So they didn't have to do it, basically, but got the credit for it.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah. So, as usual, if you need anything, give it a bell or text me or send me a mail. Yeah. Why that hadn't come through. I'll have a go.
Well, I had the learner work email right.